Welcome to another episode of the Tech Hour with Kevin and Pat. My name's Kevin.
And I'm Patrick, and today we have a very special guest, Michelle Mindala of the Connectivity Standards Alliance. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome today. It's hot and humid day in Georgia, and I am so happy to be talking to the two of you.
Oh, Georgia, I know it's extreme down there. We're 98 degrees up here in Philly, so I know you're down there boiling.
Perfect. So I guess just start with a brief introduction of yourself, what you do for the CSA, and I guess a brief introduction of Matter.
Absolutely. Well, so again, thank you guys so much for having the CSA here. And again, I'm Michelle Mindala-Freeman. I'm the head of marketing for the CSA. And basically what that means is, I work hard to represent our members and our technologies and being sure that we are communicating far and wide the benefits both of standards and how standards can help make the IoT better. Specifically the benefits of the standards that our members drive forward, including Matter. And
just want to pause for a minute and let you guys know how we're making these podcasts. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let us explain.
So there's certain tools that allow you to create and record and edit your podcast from your phone or computer. It's super convenient.
Yeah, and it's also free, so absolutely no cost to anything at all.
Exactly. And Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so it could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, it'll be there for you.
Yeah, plus you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's literally everything that you need to make a podcast in one place. So download this app on Anchor. It's free on Anchor FM go to Anchor FM to click to get started.
then also today specifically to tell you a lot more about our latest IoT connectivity standard, and one that we think is a real game changer for consumers and users, and that's Matter. My background is in technology. I grew up as a product manager and a product marketing manager. I have worked from the early days in the cell phone industry all the way into the energy and utilities industry. I was a consultant for a long time, and now I'm following my passion, working with a group of really dedicated people who truly, truly believe in making the world a better place through IoT connectivity, and doing so through standards, which we, again, firmly believe bring greater value both to the people who use those standards as well as to consumers who use those devices. So that's a little bit about me and what we do.
Okay, perfect.
For the lay people, like we try to, with our podcast, we try to educate people on what the protocols are, like the Z-Wave and Zigbee or CSA. So how will Matter mesh into what is already existing in the IoT industry, like with Alexa, Google, and all the different other platforms?
Absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit, first, Matter is a new standard. It is a single unified connectivity standard for smart home and smart building. It is backed by over 180 different companies, including some of the biggest names in technology and in the smart and connected home and building space. Matter as a protocol is going to create this common language that will allow smart home devices to talk to any smart home compatible ecosystem. So Patrick, when you ask the question of, how will it mesh with things like a Google ecosystem or an Apple HomeKit ecosystem, et cetera, both of those companies, as well as all of the major ecosystem providers, are a part of this standards development process at the CSA and are contributing to the development of Matter. So the great thing for consumers and the great thing for users is all you need to do is look for that Matter mark, and you will be able to know that there's compatibility between that Matter-enabled device and that ecosystem that you may already have in your home.
Okay. So that Matter mark, yeah. And that works, this Matter mark is going to be as ubiquitous as the Wi-Fi symbol or the, wireless charging symbol. You will look for this on like your devices. Say if you have a smart bulb, there'll be just in the bottom where you see like, say something like, works with Google or works with Alexa, this will be that. This will be basically a little white square. Excuse me, it's a white square with, it looks sort of like an umbrella is the best way I can describe it. This is an audio podcast, but
there are three arrows.
Three arrows. That's what they are.
I can describe the mark if you'd like. Yeah. So
sure thing.
So your listeners may not know, but this project, the standards development project, actually has been in the works since the end of 2019. And it used to have a different name, kind of a more technology-driven name, which was Project Connected Home over IP. And in May, we announced our new brand name, Matter. And we think that, you said it exactly right. The Matter mark itself is simple, it's powerful, it's easy to recognize. And as we get devices in the market, you will see that Matter logo, and it looks like three arrows kind of pointing in towards each other. And we do believe that it's simple and powerful enough to be as recognizable as the Wi-Fi symbol or the Bluetooth symbol as well. And that would be, that mark itself is what allows customers to know that the device that they're purchasing is Matter compatible, and their system at home, which is Matter compatible, will work with it. And so you don't have to worry so much about, do I have this ecosystem in my home? Did I just look at a device that has that ecosystem's compatibility? The whole idea with Matter is to increase interoperability and to make it simpler for customers and users to find the products that they love and connect the products that they love to their home networks.
Exactly. Great. Because that's what I was, that's the biggest thing I was worried about. Because my biggest pain point when I install a lot of the smart things architecture into my clients' houses. And, the one thing that people really don't like are hubs. Now, I'm not saying I'm not digging on smart things or whatever, Harmony hub that, exists out there. But with this new Matter protocol, how simple is it for, the average user to install, versus having somebody like, me and Kevin to install them instead?
So great question. First of all, I will mention that Samsung SmartThings is also a member of Connectivity Standards Alliance and is also a contributing member and a founding member for Matter. So rest assured, as I said, kind of all the big ecosystem providers are coming to the table, and there's a lot of power on board this train to get this standard out. So your listeners know, the standard itself, we're expecting to see our first devices certified with Matter towards the end of this year. And so when you talk about kind of what will that experience be like for users in terms of setup and installation, the standard itself is really focused on how do we make things more guided and easier and consistent for users. So we have a few concepts like first and foremost, how do you make it easier to buy? So even before you get to the installation process, we want to be able to take the guesswork out of the purchase experience. So being able to, as a developer of smart devices, to not have to develop many different flavors is a boon for the development community first and foremost. So now when they want to launch their new smart XYZ, their smart bulb, their smart thermostat, their smart plug, there really only needs to be one variant of that, and that would be kind of a Matter compatible variant. So the first ease of use component is ease of purchase. So users don't have to worry about that mix and match compatibility. The second piece is setup. So there's going to always be a lot of diversity in setup, and you guys as professional installers really understand that there is a wide array of device capability, right? There are things that are simple plugs that will, smart enable something. And then there are things that are really complicated that require a great deal of both of user interaction and maybe even some tech savvy. So when you talk about smart door locks and smart thermostats that require installation, Matter is designed to be able to accommodate that array of installation needs, but to do it in a way that is a little bit more straightforward for the user. So as part of being compatible with Matter, you will have a simple code. Perhaps it will be a multi-digit code or even a QR code so that you can enter into a setup and commissioning process in a very easy and straightforward way, irrespective of the complexity of the device. And then, depending on the complexity of the device, one can take a more complex route. So, for instance, if a device does require special installation, or maybe like a smart lock requires specific calibration, we have features built into the Matter specification that would guide that user perhaps to a URL to go identify a new piece of documentation so that they can understand, hey, this is what I need to do next. But in the case of simple devices, it will commission the device and be done. So the whole process of setup and installation should be a little bit more guided, a little bit more clear, and at least from that out-of-box experience with either the code or a QR code or what have you, a little bit more consistent to ease the setup process for people.
I just want to touch on one thing here, and I know you kind of can't vouch for another company or whatnot, but Apple today released that they were compatible with Matter. And now, what can you say about that? Like, do you know of any products that they're thinking of or anything of that nature?
So what I can say is that Apple was one of several of the founding members of the project itself. They have been involved since day one. They are very, very active members from our technology steering committee, our marketing and products committee, our certification committee. They're very, very involved in the process. So we have been absolutely thrilled to be working with them throughout this. And we all look forward to what those products will be going forward as well.
Perfect. So from what I gain of it then, essentially, like I'm an Apple fanboy myself. So let's say Pat sends me like a SmartThings hub or whatnot. I'll be able to essentially use them compatibly together, correct? Is that what I'm gaining of this? Or?
The interoperability is devices to ecosystems. So if you're a HomeKit guy and you go online and you just see this really great new smart plug or smart lighting system or new device that you really want to try out in your home ecosystem, you don't have to worry whether or not it has an ecosystem compatibility. As long as it has the Matter mark, you can buy it and it'll connect. I mean, that is the whole intent. How do we open up this market to new users and people who might have been a little reluctant to jump all into the smart home space because of their concerns and fears about, am I buying the right thing? Will this work? How do I do it? And Matter is designed to really help address a lot of those issues.
Well, concerns. Let's touch on that for a quick second. When it comes to a lot of my clients that I deal with, they have a lot of issues with security, and I end up, like, for instance, I use a lot of Z-Wave products just because it's so old and the throughput is so low. And like there hasn't been, I've heard of instances where like Z-Wave locks have been hacked, but it's not very often. So I use that, and I tell my clients that is the most secure protocol. Now, with this new Matter protocol, how is that secure? Is it secure on like the application layer or like the IP layer, or I just was trying to get maybe an overview of just to sort of assure people that it is the most secure, since it is going to be the most ubiquitous symbol going forward.
I thank you for that endorsement. Yes, we think so too. So there are basically 4 core value propositions around the Matter protocol. One is simplicity, and I think we've talked a lot about that, interoperability, reliability, and the 4th is security. Security is absolutely critical to our members as they are developing the specification. I will tell you, security has been considered throughout the specification development process. The architecture itself is based on some best practices like secure by design and zero trust. I will tell you just a few tidbits, right? Every device joining is authenticated, and we use a distributed ledger for device attestation to kind of ensure that the device provenance is as it is supposed to be. I am actually connecting the thing I intend to connect. Every message is protected with secure encryption. And we've also built into the spec over-the-air secured updates. So there are a lot of protections in place. And the last thing I'll mention, which again isn't necessarily something that consumers and users would think about, but is really important when you think about the developers of your smart home and smart connected products, is that it's a community. The Matter standard is built on open source, and we have a really strong community of members who are working together to both build an SDK for the standard itself, but also to communicate and work with each other as the standard evolves and grows in the area of security. So everyone knows and is aware when and if things are uncovered, and the community supports itself and supports each other in driving forward those best practices and enhancements and improvements over time, which again, not every consumer or user would think of, but it's really important if you think about developers and wanting to make sure they have a really strong support system around them to develop secure and well-protected products.
Because I mean, that's great. The fact that these companies are working together, and it's working in your best interest. And I'm just gonna go ahead and riff off of this just to let people know that these things are secure. There is no one watching you. IoT is the Internet of Things. If you want to unlock your door from your phone, that's what it's for. There's no need to be afraid of it, so to speak. And just going into that, because I love the fact that the ease of use is, you emphasize the ease of use. Now, it's not exactly the clapper, as easy as the clapper to install, but that kind of moves me on to the next thing, because you did say something that you have a QR code that will, I'm sorry, I just wanted to summarize because I wanted to hit that really good point. You have a QR code. If you want to install maybe a Zemi smart blind or a curtain or something like that, Matter already has a QR code that will link you to a video or a how-to on how to do that. And that's really important, because what I think Matter will open up is the senior market. And I think that's where I think all IoT and smart home protocols, should be going. For your elderly, the fact that they can hit a button and a light will come on, they don't have to go chase a switch down, or the fact that the Amazon does the thing where you can just kind of check in on grandma or something like that, or things like maybe fall detection. All these little things, the Internet of Things are different gadgets that sort of
protect you
exactly,
yeah.
And make things known to for family members. That's where I want to move this to more so.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, on that note of community, I mean, the fact that all these companies are working together, even Apple and Samsung are working together, right? So I mean, that's the two biggest companies in the game.
If I may, I'll riff a little off of your riff. I think that one of the important things in standards development, and when we talk about things like Matter, is that all of the members are there to build a common framework, and that lets them do things like focus more, not on trying to make sure things just connect. We've got that covered. That's the whole point of using the standard. They're able to pivot their time and energy to focus on how do they make that experience better? How do they improve the performance of their devices? How do they offer new, cooler features that would appeal to different market segments, like the elderly, or accessibility, or some other type of interesting future connected experience. Using standards lets them be confident in what they build at the core and lets them innovate around the edges, which I think is really, really great for consumers and users.
I mean, great, because, and one more, I'm sorry, you said something interesting there, reliability. That's another big, issue in the IoT field. Say if you have a Wi-Fi bulb, connected to your Google, if the Wi-Fi goes out and the Google goes out, you can't turn your light off. Now, is Matter sort of locally controlled? Because Zigbee or Z-Wave is more of a hub-based local thing, so you can still, use the light if, locally if, internet is down. So does Matter work like that too?
Absolutely. So it is consistent and responsive local connectivity that will still work if the internet is down. It doesn't require communication to the cloud. You don't have to do that. And to your point, that does mean that there is that level of reliability. And for us, reliable also means, how is it built? And coming back to that comment around, the development community and open source, the standard itself is developing a reference design, an SDK that will allow those device developers to start with something and start with a code first approach. So again, we think about reliable, proven, able to realize devices and Matter capable devices quickly. That's another aspect of reliability that this standards organization and our members are really focusing on delivering to.
Awesome. And now in terms of, I guess, when should we expect the first products to launch? Is there any say on that or anything? Or
yeah, so we are expecting to see the first products through our certification programs at the end of 2021. So it might sound like a long ways away, but in the world of, and you guys know, in the world of standards development and IoT, it is a blink of an eye. It's been really amazing to see Matter come about in a very, very short period of time, and the speed and commitment of those members to get this standard done and to get devices through testing and certification is really quite amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing those first devices through certification, and I hope the rest of the market is too.
Oh, we definitely are. I know me and Pat definitely are.
And to wrap up, that's what I really like about this. First of all, we have the ease of use, we have the ease of installation, we have the security, and we have the reliability. With what Matter is going to be is back in the 1800s, there were a bunch of different companies that ran a bunch of different railroads until the railroads got standardized. It's basically that. It's basically, imagine everything being able to talk to everything, so you don't have to concern yourself with what works with what. And that is going to be the true birth of what I think the smart home industry is going to be going forward.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. Is there anything you wanted to say, Michelle, in terms of Matter or anything?
No, I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it much better than Patrick there. Holy smokes!
I've been doing some research. I've been doing some homework.
But I think all of our members agree, right? That everyone had a common belief that we should be able to make secure, reliable, and seamless IoT devices, that we could create a world where customers could experiment, could look at a smart device and say, I want to try that. I think that's a great experience. And Matter is the vehicle that will let them do that. And we are looking forward, all of our members are looking forward to putting products out on the market. And I can't wait for consumers to be able to enjoy a Matter experiences.
Definitely. Matter in the future will be as reliable as a Chromebook, as reliable as your computer. Yeah. And it's only going to get better. Your house will be more intuitive for you. And yeah. Like she said, the experiments are endless. You're talking, do you need a Wi-Fi faucet? Maybe, but if you're doing a recipe, that's part of Matter. Maybe exactly. You have your curtains connected to Matter. They sync up to the sunrise and the sunset, and they provide energy for your house or heat for your house, so you don't have to run your gas bill, so much. Yeah. That's a big thing. Matter is, I think it's just another tiny step to move us away from, grid energy and, to make, like I said, your house more efficient. It's another step to make your house more efficient, is what I meant.
Matter, we hope, will matter a lot.
Exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong. So you can find Matter on buildwithmatter.com. Is that
Absolutely. Buildwithmatter.com. CSAIoT.org is the alliance itself. You can see all the things that we do, but buildwithmatter.com will give you all the basics about Matter itself. And keep your eyes out. There'll be all kinds of new things that come in to users as we look towards the end of 2021.
Perfect. Do you guys have a Facebook, Instagram, anything of that nature?
We are on Twitter, CSAIoT.
CSAIoT on Twitter?
Yeah, and I'll make sure I send that over to you guys so you can share that with your followers as well.
We will.
Absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us, Michelle.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me and the Alliance. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries at all. So until the next episode, my name's Kevin.
I'm Pat from Tech Hour, Kevin and Pat, and we have many more like these in the future. Like I said, CSA IoT on Twitter. Look them up if you need any more information, or inbox me or Kevin. We'll be here for you to answer questions pretty much all night.
Perfect, yeah. And our website is thetechhour.net. If you guys want to check out our podcasts, everything's there. So until next time, see you.
Until next time, guys. Take care.